What's going on? This is your man John Fortune, your host of the Frustrated Fan Sports Show. And today is the day of days. Terry McLaurin is re-signed with the Washington Commanders on a 3-year extension worth $96 million. Exactly what an elite receiver deserves as the number one target on his team. And I'm finally glad that this is over with, because trust me, y'all, I was in the process of making something that was going to be a year-long thing if they did not sign Terry McLaurin in time. And it's one of those situations where, for the first time in a long time, we actually see what having nice things look like. You know, like it's like we understand what it's like now to actually be in the midst of building something that can actually win something big. And Terry McLaurin isn't the final piece, but he's a very important, major, critical piece, because of the fact that without him, we were not going to be a team that was on the verge of winning games. We were going to probably be somewhere lower down the tier of games. But with him back in the fold now, and barring anything, we have a massive opportunity now. And this is what I was talking about. This is what I always say about, when it comes to us as a fan base being able to support our players like we're supposed to. You know what I'm saying? There's a difference between supporting a guy that you could tell is not a long-term answer or is not somebody who's going to make us special. A la Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins understand, we drafted Kirk Cousins in 2012. To this day, he's considered one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and still hasn't won anything. Still hasn't really won much of anything. And it's still the same thing. The guy who wins early, loses late. But this is one that it's now apparent that people want to win. And they want to win big. What better way to cement your legacy in Adam Peters than to win it all in year 2? As the general manager of the Commanders. This is like vital. Like these are situations and moments where it's like you have an opportunity to do something that most people don't get the opportunity to do. Not only that, you got all this going on prior to your star quarterback being paid tons of money. We're seeing that now as a lot of teams who've paid their quarterbacks tons and tons of money, and they're now slowly limping to the end. Super Bowl windows are 2 to 3 years. That's it. After that 3rd year, you gotta hope. Everything else is now hope and prayer. Look at the Bengals. Slowly look at the Buffalo Bills. Teams are starting to get to that point at where that window is slowly shutting. And not only is it slowly shutting, it's getting to the point at where it's almost closed. And it's only going to get harder from then on out, especially when your quarterback isn't the big money winner right now. And Terry McLaurin has done nothing but been our star guy. He's been our captain. He's been here through the whole thing. Understand that I think him and Daron Payne are the last of the trifecta players. Him and Daron Payne are the last of the trifecta guys. They're the last ones who were Redskins football team commanders. They're the last ones. So at this point right now, it's a big situation right now where they have an opportunity to really impact the season like they should. You now have your elite number one and your elite number two. Like, and not only an elite number, a number two who can play the slot. So you now have the makings of a receiving core to go up against a Philadelphia receiving core. Even when you think about our secondary, if Marshawn Lattimore plays to the level we know he can play, we now have a competitive balance when it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles. The only issue we have right now is running back. Adam Peters, I need you to go get us a running back. Not tomorrow, not next year. We need one right now. And we need a really good one. We can't sit up there and deal with this. Unlike others, I understood the value of Brian Robinson. And Brian Robinson's impact was very well received when the playoffs came around. One thing I tell people, running back by committee is good for the regular season. It's awful for the postseason. Running back by committee never works in the postseason. If you don't believe me, look at the reason Detroit lost is because they did the running back by committee thing. Jahmyr Gibbs was the hot hand. They got to a point at where they were like, we got to get David Montgomery in the game. We got to get David Montgomery some carries. And that slowed Detroit's progress to even coming close. And not only that, Detroit probably would have blown us out if they'd have stuck with Jahmyr Gibbs. But because they didn't, and they were desperate to sit up there and do the committee thing, let's get David Montgomery some carries, they ended up losing the game in a big-time way. Their first playoff game that they were playing last year, they ended up losing to a 7 seed. 7 or 6 seed? I think it was the 6 seed. But either way, they lost big time. And you can't do the running back by committee thing. You just can't do it. It doesn't work. So you have to go out there and find us somebody. Find us somebody special. Find us somebody that's going to be great for us. Find us somebody that's going to work for us. Because, again, like I said, we're going to need that guy who can basically run the ball, get the offense steadily on track. Somebody who can sit up there and really do a job that they can really go out there, get the job done, and we're not concerned about how they're getting the job done because they're focused on actually doing the work. I mean, others might have felt that getting rid of Brian Robinson was a good thing. I don't. Because he actually was part of that championship type of caliber thing. You know, he was a guy that can get the offense running, get the offense started, and was steady through the whole thing. Trading Brian Robinson wasn't the smart play. It just wasn't. I understand that he may not technically fit what people are looking for, but running back by committee never works long term. It never works. You're always, because when you do running back by committee, that tells me that every single running back is a specialist to something. Austin Eckler's had his concussion issues. That's a big deal. You got Bill. When you think about it, Bill has missed a whole college football season. So, in all honesty, and not only that, he was going to be playing for Arizona. That's a big deal. That's a very big deal. And then you got Chris Rodriguez, who's not the elusive back. So now you got to sit up there and you got these three specialists, but not a guy that is like your steady offense guy. A guy who can basically run that ball, get everything in the order, and take care of what you need to do. Like I said, we're going to need that. And we also, and to be honest, we might need another impact, a very, very good impact backup linebacker. I know that they signed Tony Fields, which is a smart move. Very, very smart move. He's not quite the thumper that you want, but he's a very quality guy. Very, very quality guy. So we'll see how it goes, but Terry McLaurin, like I said, Terry McLaurin being back, man, that is the biggest thing. As a person who's advocated for Terry for so long, as the person who, this goes, and for me, my connection with Terry goes back to when he was at Ohio State. And I remember watching him, and I was like, man, why does this guy not get the ball more? Like, this guy's like a threat for real. Because at the time, I was one of the few people who were doing college football, college player evaluations. And I remember when everybody was like, oh, Terry McLaurin's going to be a special team. And I was like, no, have y'all watched this guy play? Like, this guy is phenomenal. Like, especially in his final year. Like, most people don't know, him and Noah Brown was at Ohio State together. So him and Noah Brown have a very long history together. But even back, because Noah Brown at Ohio State was actually one of the number one guys. Noah Brown was actually one of the guys that was in the way of Terry being like the superstar at Ohio State. So that's something that's pretty big there, because now when you look at it, all the guys that were above Terry at Ohio State, they're all either secondary guys, third-dairy guys, or they're not in the league at all. I mean, Mike Thomas is another one. Mike Thomas was phenomenal when he got to the league, but he was one of those guys that was in the way of Terry McLaurin. Benjamin Victor was another guy. Paris Campbell, Noah Brown, I forgot, Austin Mack, I think, was another one. But they had so many guys, and I remember, I just could not believe that people was evaluating Terry McLaurin as a special teamer. And I was like, y'all have to look at this guy. This guy has something special. And I just remember everybody like, oh, he's going to be a special teamer. Why would you draft a special teamer? And I had to tell people like, no, y'all have to understand something. He's Pierre Garçon with speed. He's a very tough receiver that can get down the field, that can get open, and is dangerous. And everybody's like, oh, no, we're going to go with the evaluation that he's a special teamer. And I was like, no, y'all, this guy is special. Here we are now from 2019 all the way now to 2025. He's finally with a quarterback that makes a difference, that can get him the ball better than most quarterbacks can. And he's now no longer in limbo with trying to showcase he's the best without people sitting up there focusing on why he's not the best. Like I said, it's crazy our fan base diminishes our guy more than the national media. As a fan, like, and that's something I need to talk more to y'all. Like, let's stop diminishing our star guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can understand, like, with Jonathan Allen, it was never the fact that Jonathan Allen wasn't good or wasn't a guy who can make impact and make plays. It was just the fact that at one point he was the only real thing of value that we really had when it came to making trades that we wanted to make, but at the same time not giving up so much that we weren't going to get something valuable back in return. Jonathan Allen, even though wasn't the super impact defensive tackle like an Aaron Donald, he was still somebody that was very valuable. He was a very steady guy. He made the plays he needed to make. Like I said, Jonathan Allen would end up at the end of the season with 8 sacks, and it's like, how in the hell did he get 8 sacks? That's just what it was. But again, like I said, Terry McLaurin is back, and I'm telling y'all, this helps us so much more. Again, I don't want, from here on out, I don't want the fan base. I don't want to hear anybody from the fan base diminishing Terry McLaurin anymore. When Terry McLaurin is talked about, I want to hear him at number one. I want our fan base to treat Terry McLaurin like Philadelphia treats A.J. Brown, like Cincinnati treats Jamar Chase, like Detroit treats Amon St. Brown. I want our fan base to look at our guy as number one, no matter who he's going up against. I want the fan base to appreciate Terry McLaurin like Tampa Bay appreciates Mike Evans. I want our fan base to look at our guy like the Rams look at Puka Nacua. Our guy is number one, and there's nobody above him. When it comes to me, there's no receiver above Terry McLaurin. No one. I understand that we want to pay attention to stats and all that, but as a fan, no receiver is better than my guy. The captain is back, and it's now time for him to steer the ship, be at the helm of the ship, and now lead us to where we need to go, and that's the promised land. And once we get there, we're going to be excited about being there. Like I said, Adam Peters, your job is not done. You have to go get us a high-level running back. Because, again, running back by committee does not work in the playoffs. It just doesn't. Because so many times we've seen coaches feel obligated to get a guy in the game and it ends up not working. Or thinking that, oh, well, you know what, we're going on pass and play and we got to go with this guy. No, at this current moment right now, we got too many specialists in the backfield. We can't go into the season or into the postseason with that. We need somebody that can get the job done. Period. I know that there's some forward thinking with this, but hey, what's wrong with trying to see if Atlanta's willing to give up Tyler Algier? See if you can get him. I mean, he's a guy that can actually be steady enough that can get you to where you need to go. He does have breakaway speed. He's a guy that, and understand this, for him, it's going to be important for him to want to be the number one guy because he's had to sit up there and he lost his starting role to a guy who just happens to be better than him. Let's see what you can do. See if you can go get it. See if New Orleans is okay with possibly letting go Alvin Kamara. Because we're going to need a guy that's going to be that type of guy that's going to be dangerous for us as we march into the playoffs. We got to find our Saquon Barkley type. We got to find our guy that can come in there and get something done. We got to find our Derrick Henry type. And I understand those are the guys that are at the top of the top. But we got to find something like that. We got to find something like that. Because at this current moment, we don't have it on the team. We just don't. And we need a guy that is very impactful. I'm not sitting here saying, go get somebody like a Najee Harris or something. No. We need a guy who can come in and is going to be an impact for us. Somebody that they make a difference. See what the Jets want to do with Breece Hall. I understand that he's an often injured guy. But see if the Jets want to, relinquish one of those guys. I personally like Braylon Allen. I love Braylon Allen coming out of Wisconsin. I don't know if the Jets are willing to give him up because he's the more dependable back when it comes to being on the field and not being injured. But let's go find us a guy. It's time for us to find us our guy. And it's time for us to understand that this is not a joke. We cannot go into the season and think that we're going to be in the postseason and we don't have that elite running back or that top level running back that can get stuff done when it comes down to it. We need it. Other than that, Terry McLaurin is back. I'm happy. How do y'all feel? Are all y'all excited about the fact that Terry McLaurin is back home Are you all going to consider him number one from now on? Let's show Terry McLaurin the love he rightfully deserves from this city, because all he's ever done was he did everything for us. He did it all for us. Even in the down times, he did it all. Now we have to do it for him too. Let's prop him up as the number one guy, no matter who is better than him. Y'all tell me what y'all think. How y'all feeling? Other than that, this has been your man, John Fortune, and this has been the Frustrated Fan Sports Show.